mind's eye. Kara's brow drew low as she thought about him as hard as she could, but all she could picture was a vague image of a man dressed in biker clothes. His face was blurry, like she suddenly needed glasses to see him properly. "Nick," Kara whispered. She stumbled blindly across the room, her feet attempting to drag her toward a vision in her head, one that wasn't even clear. Why couldn't she see him? Why couldn't she remember what he looked like? Panic rushed through her like a river. Somewhere within her, a dam broke, and a torrent of fear cascaded over her, filling Kara until she was sure she would drown. Why can't I see him? She clenched her fists and stomped around the room, her energy suddenly boosted by a surge of adrenaline coursing through her bloodstream. When did I stop being able to see him? That was probably the better question. Kara tried to remember the last time that she'd truly been able to picture all of her mate. His shaved head, his piercing gaze, the stubble on his face that was never unruly but always seemed to just need a bit of cleaning up. Even now, as she thought of those things she knew to be true of him, Kara could no longer picture them in her head. It was like smoke slipping through her hands. She gasped. "That damn liquid!" Her teeth gnashed as she realized it had to be the potion she'd been drinking. What else could possibly cause her to lose the vivid memories of her mate? Kara tried again to close her eyes and think of Nick's smell, his taste, the way his arms felt around her. But there were only hazy memories. Now, even her soul, which had always reached so strongly, so longingly for her mate, seemed to question the authenticity of the memories. She looked around the beautiful room, taking in what was left of the things she hadn't thrown at the door. A roar, forming low in Kara's gut, rose until she opened her mouth and bellowed. She ran at the first thing her eyes landed on. The drapes, thick and no doubt worth a small fortune. They hung from the top of the wall, staring down at Kara as if lording their richness over her. She grabbed a fistful of fabric and yanked. One sharp pull was all it took. The curtain rod ripped from the wall and fell with a thud. Light streamed into the room. Kara didn't spare a glance for the acres of meticulously manicured grounds that rolled outward from Ludkarab's castle. She had no idea if she was in the elfin or human realm, and he never answered when she asked. It did appear, however, that she was imprisoned in a real-life castle. Under any other circumstances, her accommodations would have been cool as hell. Instead, they simply were hell, without all the coolness. Kara's heart squeezed tightly, and tears filled her eyes. "Nick!" Her chest rose and fell, forcing heavy air into her lungs. Kara turned her attention to the bed. She grabbed the comforter and, with a snap of her wrists, tore it away. The sheets were next, but she didn't merely pull them off. Instead, Kara grabbed one end of the sheets with her teeth and held the other with her hand. It shouldn't have been possible, but Kara gave a sharp yank of her head, and the fabric tore with a loud ripping sound, and she kept ripping until nothing but shreds remained. Kara forced herself to pause. Again, she tried to picture her male. Again, there was simply a figure with blurred features. The more she tried to remember, the more unfocused the image became. "Why?" she breathed out, her voice hoarse from shouting. "Why?" Although she didn't expect an answer, it still pissed her off that there wasn't one. It was as if gasoline had been poured on the fire of her rage. The lamp beside the bed was her next victim. She slammed it into the wall. Then she picked up a large pewter tray that sat on a bedside table and smashed it into the mirror that hung over the dresser. She continued to use the heavy tray to hit the ever-loving shit out of every object that could be broken, dented, scratched, or damaged in any way. "Ah!" she wailed and turned in a circle, flinging the tray away. The corner hit the wall and bounced off, clattering to the ground and leaving a large hole in the wall. All Kara could see was darkness within. She paused, momentarily stunned by the damage. She stared open-mouthed at the gaping hole. Just as quickly as the fight had come, it whooshed out of her. She realized her soul was like that wall. There was a gaping hole where Nick should be. In his stead, there was simply a black, empty void. The pulse of her heartbeat was loud in her ears as Kara continued to stare at the hole. Surely this was not going to be her life. After 18 years of never being able to trust anyone, of never being able to count on anyone, she finally had true friends. And she had Nick, her soulmate. Her life was full, complete. Was it all really going to be ripped away? Was she now going to be left with an empty shell of life, a half-life of misery, where her only comfort came from the memories of her brief time spent with Nick? Could she live like this? "No," she whispered, shaking her head, unable to let that question linger for more than a couple seconds. "No, I can't think like that." She knew without a doubt that Nick searched for her. He would scour the earth and